Hey guys, just got done watching 1973's Baba Yaga, based from the comic book, and also it was a co-production between Italy and France. Now you can tell this by the filming and by everything else in it. This film is from Blue Underground, the Blu-ray. Inside there's a picture. There we go. And the disc art looks like this. It's quite nice. I do like one of the things I do like about the film before I start is I like how when there's like a sex scene or the scene where um Valentina, Valentina's masturbating, it goes into like a comic book kind of thing and does it very artistic. I liked it. So anyway, the film stars Carol Baker, who was quite big in Italy at the time for things like Knife on an Edge, So Sweet, So Perverse. I think The Fourth Victim. What else? Which was in a whole lot of Gallios or Gallios. I never can say that word properly. Gallios. I've got a lot of them. I'm going to review them. But anyway, Gallios. Ignore me if I said it wrong. George Eastman, who's another great actor. He was in Stage Fright, Rabid Dogs, aka Abduction, and he was in a hell of a lot of other films. I love the guy. He also played the Django in some of the cheap Django movies that came after the Franco Nero ones. George Eastman, he's got that kind of look about him. You know, he's a good-looking bloke, but he also looks a bit rough, so he can play multiple roles. They got Isabel de Funes, who plays Valentina. It's worse with you. I've seen her other stuff, but I can't remember what it was because I didn't really like her that much. Then you've got Eli Galanina, Danelia Balzarati, and so forth. And basically, I've seen this film once before, and I watched it again today to review it. And I've got to be honest, it is quite good. Even though it doesn't get the best reviews, it's pretty good. So let's get started with the review. The film starts off with Valentina at a party. And at that party, with George Eastman and some other friends. George Eastman plays Anna. And basically, she wants to ride home and basically sit on his lap. And she decides to walk the last half an hour away. And basically, he follows her and he goes, "Oh, take me home," basically wants to make love to her. And she says, "Not tonight, oh no." And she runs up, going, "Yeah," laughing. And she sees a dog. And as she goes to help the dog, a car almost hits her up. Boom! Almost hits her. And out comes this beautiful, voluptuous, blonde-haired woman. To be honest with you, it was Carol Baker. And to be honest, she was too young to be Baba Yaga, from what I've read and what I've heard in the past. Baba Yaga was supposed to be older, but they tried to make her older. So she goes to her, "Oh, I'm sorry if I gave you a fright." And then a little while later, like I'm guessing a day later, she goes to knock on her door, and basically it's Baba Yaga saying, "It's me, Baby Yaga. I came to apologize." And she touches her camera with her hands. Goes, "Is this the one you take pictures with?" And she goes, "Yeah." So after she leaves, she decides to take some pictures of the model because Valentina is a photographer. And as she takes the picture, the woman ends up on the ground. Oh, there's not going, "Oh, I'm in so much pain. Ah." And you're like, okay. And Baby Yaga starts stalking her, basically, watching her from afar with George Eastman. Oh no. And she gets jealous. So basically, people start getting hurt from the camera. And Valentina goes round Baba Yaga's. Goes round Baba Yaga's to take pictures. And in the house, she finds a big hole and she drops something down it and she never hears it hit the ground. It scares her. And Baby Yaga goes, "Don't worry about the hole. It needs to be fixed. Go upstairs and you will place to take pictures. So she goes upstairs, and there's this doll there with like these strap things around what would be like, I don't know, kind of like, I don't know, S&M gear? I don't know. Not into that stuff, so I wouldn't know. But it's kind of like lingerie, but kind of leather lingerie kind of thing. People probably know what that is, but I don't. So she sees that doll, and she decides to lay down and masturbate. And that's where it goes to a comic strip. And it goes, it looks really good, really artistic. And Baby Yaga, when she finishes, Baby Yaga's there going, "Are you okay? Did you need a rest? Are you feeling sick?" And Valentina goes, Valentina goes, "No, I'm fine. Just felt a little bit tired." And then Baby Yaga goes to her, "Take this doll and make sure it's with you everywhere so it can protect you. Because dolls do that, they protect you." If somebody said that to me, I'd be very creeped out. So she takes it home with her. She looks at it a couple of times, creeps her out. The next day, she's got a model round, and all of a sudden the lights go out, and the doll's moved, and the camera's on the floor. So, and the model's got like a prick in them from like where they've been stabbed with like a needle kind of thing. And they decided to develop the cameras, and they see that the doll came to life with beautiful breasts and a beautiful face. Oh, what a beautiful woman. Yes, that's right. I thought the woman was very beautiful. And they go, "It can't be." Well, it is. And basically, at that point, there's a lot more that happens. Like, for instance, there's a scene where Valentina dreams that Nazi women and a Nazi captain are making her get undressed and jump down a hole naked. Which is a bit weird. So, getting to the end kind of thing, because I don't want to spoil a lot of the movie, because it's one of those movies you have to really watch. At the end, spoiler alert, George Eastman goes to save her because he's her love interest, and he has to beat Baba Yaga. And Annette, who is the doll that comes to life, the sexy doll played by Ili Galinia, originally played an audition for the role of Valentina, but lost to Isabel de Fune, so ended up that character, the doll, instead. She gets her head cut off by a thing, and it gets knocked off basically by George Eastman, and Valentina confronts Baby Yaga, and she goes down the hole. And just to go down the hole, the police come in, and the woman says the whole place has been abandoned and no one's lived there for a very long time. And the hole that she thought was so deep, the policeman jumps into, and it's like this deep. That's right. So it's like, did it all actually happen, or was it in their minds? Yeah, well, those kind of stories. I enjoyed it. I liked the chemistry between Carol Baker and Isabel de Funes. And I also like the character development between George Eastman's character, Arno, and Valentina. So my impression of him was that he was a bit of a playboy, but he kind of falls in love with her. That was my impression. So tired, I'm saying the wrong things. That was my impression of him. That was what I thought of his character. So I did like the film. I thought the acting by some people were pretty bad. Isabel de Funes didn't really have that screen charisma that I like. Carol Baker did, and George Eastman did, and so did Eli Galini. I liked her a lot, but that could be because I saw her naked all the time. There's a bit in it where they strip down Valentina, and as Annette is whipping her, Carol Baker's character, Baby Yaga, is kind of getting off on it, which was a really hot scene, to be honest. George Eastman saving her, that was alright. He climbs over in the rain and all this. And it was a fairly decent film. It's not really a film I'd recommend unless you kind of like the artsy kind of films, because there's certain parts of it are very artsy, like the comic book style, but it's from the actual comic books, but they actually used it in the thing. The lighting, the whole story is kind of artsy as well, the way it's portrayed. It's not like it's a horror film, but it's not your average horror film. It's just it's really well done. I like it a lot, but it's one of those films that you watch and you think to yourself, I'll probably watch this again in a couple of years. It's not going to be on the favourites, but it's going to be one of those you remember for a little while. I mean, Carol Baker, I've seen her in a lot of other films, and she's always blinded. But it's rare that you actually hear her real voice because obviously they're dubbed or they're subtitled because of being Italian. And George Eastman's always, to me, he's always been one of the top Italian actors of the 70s. So I recommend it if you like witch stories. I recommend it if you like lesbian loving kind of stories. Because there is a kind of lesbian kind of relationship going on between Baba Yaga and Valentina, even if it's in their imaginaries in a way. But it's a good film. I recommend it. I don't think it's good for people who don't like witch stories. I don't think it's good for people who don't like, you know, Italian French films. But other than that, give it a go because it's not a bad film. It's pretty good, and I'll give it a 3 because I enjoyed it, but it'll take me a couple of years to watch it again because it's one of those films that you can only watch every couple of years. For me, anyway. I'm sure for other people they would love to watch it multiple times in a day. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the review. Let me know what you thought of Baby Yaga, and if you read the comics, because I'd like to hear about that. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching, and have a lovely day.